episode of Go Teams Score Points, the podcast where each episode we learn about the NBA, the people in the NBA, and current events in the NBA. Today, Irish and Sam are here to talk about the Knicks Celtics game, recent trades, and play an absurd game. It's our best episode yet. Hi, Sam.
Hi.
This is episode 15. And I watched
Unreal.
the Celtics play the Knicks. And you know what? I really enjoyed it.
I cannot wait to hear about this because I think this is the first time you've said this, isn't it?
I know. I think it is. Wow.
Yeah.
It only took 15 games. Although I have some ideas of why I think I liked this one. Did you get any reviews? I got one.
What was yours?
Mine was from my friend Christian. And Christian said, I love your podcast. I genuinely learn a lot because I know literally nothing.
This is our
Isn't that
audience.
great? It's perfect.
Right?
Well, I feel like Christian's learning along with me. I love it.
I bumped into Giles and he just stopped and said he's been reflecting on his own basketball journey a lot and said how much he enjoyed it. He's like, he's really liking listening to it. So I think it still counts, even if we've already had a Giles review.
It counts. We're making the rules for this, so we count it. So Hannah sent a reply to the episode. She says, Sam made some interesting points about Jimmy not being a diva. He definitely leaves every team in a messy way. The way he left the Heat seems to make a lot of sense when framed like Sam framed it. I think he did some things like leave the team on the plane waiting for him. And I also think he's really grieving from his dad's death. But I see a different perspective now at the end of his career.
Well, I'm glad. That's cool to hear from him. I like that. Yeah. And I should say, I think the Warriors are 2-0 since he got there. And he's played 2 very good games, but Steph Curry has played 2 absurd games. I think I should check these numbers. Yeah.
Like really good or really bad?
No, really good. Steph Curry has scored 38 and 34 points.
Wow.
And I think I haven't watched, but what they've been saying all along is he just needs some help. And if there was someone to take a little bit of the defense's focus away from him, it would free him up to do a lot more. And it was really fun. I watched just the highlights on YouTube of, he had a third quarter against the Bulls that was like Steph Curry from 2018. He had 20 some points in the quarter and, made a zillion threes, but it was, I think Jimmy Butler's creating space for him. I hope humbly saying that I think the Jimmy Butler FU tour is happening. I think he's going to be really good for them for a while. If he can stay healthy, who knows?
That's exciting.
Yeah.
My fact checked by friends is from Hannah and August, who both were like, you're pronouncing everyone's names wrong. Hannah says Doncic is pronounced Doncic. Doncic.
Okay.
Not Doncic.
Well, I'd probably say
Doncic,
that.
Similar to Jokic, Doncic.
Doncic. Okay. Let me talk about my mom. Okay, mom's comments are short today. She said, what I remember is how funny all of Irish's reasons for the trade were, all having to do with food. And she fully agrees that the best time to leave your seat at a game is during the second period. And she said she also never saw a single person spit on the floor. She didn't. This is a little bit of a quick turnaround for her. But anyway, that counts.
I know.
That's enough.
For me too. No, that's enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so trade talk. Jimmy Butler's settling in to the Warriors. How did Doncic do?
Doncic, he's played 1 game so far, and the Lakers won. He had 20-some points. I think it was a pretty normal game for him. I thought you would appreciate that the quote, they huddle up before every game, and in the hallway, backstage, LeBron James said to Doncic in that huddle, he was like, don't try to fit in. And he said, fit the out, is what he said. So,
right.
Be yourself. Play. They played 1 game so far, Doncic. So it was the first game that Doncic has played since he got hurt on Christmas Day. So it's been a minute. Yeah, since he's played. I didn't realize that he was going to be playing again so quickly for the Lakers because I knew that he had been out for a while for the Mavericks. The Lakers were ahead by 25 at halftime of that game. They played the Jazz, who are not good. Doncic only played 24 minutes, but he had 14 points, he had 5 rebounds, and he had 4 assists in that time. Bron had a really good game, 24 points. So I think it's still when we first heard about it, the thing that August said was that like super teams tend to be a little bit overrated. Like just putting stars together on the same team doesn't necessarily mean that team's going to be successful. And it'll take a minute for them to figure out like how to play together. Both of them are players who are very used to having the ball a lot and like instructing people where to go and then making decisions based on mismatches and whatever. So I think it'll take a little while for them to figure that out. But I just like LeBron may get an extra season or two out of this trade. There's talk maybe this is his last year, but I feel like with Doncic, like he can be very relaxed. Like he can kind of stand in the corner and shoot 3-pointers while Doncic runs the offense, which it's just like, I feel like it's a free add-on to the tail end of his career to have someone that good be able to run his team. It's pretty cool.
That is.
Unless you're a Celtics fan, then it sucks.
Right. Or if you're a Mavericks fan.
Did you hear about this?
Well, I did hear about this.
Tell me, what did you hear?
The other half of the trade that Anthony Davis was traded to the Mavericks. Doncic went to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. And that was the big mystery. Why? We still don't know. But Anthony Davis got injured. Was it getting off the plane? Got injured immediately and there was a waste. So now the Mavs fans are probably rioting in the streets.
Where they kicked fans out of the most recent Dallas game because of like signs that they were holding up about like fire Nico, who's the Mavs general manager. So the Mavericks were like kicking fans out of their home game because they were holding up signs that said fire Nico. And then like the Mavericks said, the guest brought in a sign that broke the following rule included in the NBA Code of Conduct: clothing, garments, or signs displaying explicit language, profanatory, or derogatory characterization toward any person or people. I don't know. I would be really curious what that sign actually said. But like the picture that they have just says it's two guys holding a sign that say fire Nico, which doesn't seem profane to me. Yeah. I mean, it's ugly. They're like these Dallas sports personalities that are like, I mean, it's just like a mutiny. And the interesting thing is like, we've been talking about how NBA fandom is changing a little bit. And like, I didn't grow up in this era of like players seeming so accessible and changing teams so much. But I think like, I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas lost like most of its fans because they're actually Luka fans. He signed there when he was 18. Right, he's been there since he was a kid. Luka did, and if you watch their games, it's all Doncic jerseys, all of them. They were a laughingstock franchise. They were like the Wizards in the 90s. They were terrible, threatening a few times in the 90s. Threatened like the most losses in a season record. Really awful, really really awful. So Nowitzki and Mark Cuban kind of like brought them to relevance, but it's like in the last, I don't know, 7 years or whatever. It's like Luka. That's all it is Luka. Everyone has a 77 jersey on, and it's just like, I mean, all those people, I don't know. It's like, it's so bizarre. It's really, really bizarre what's happening there. Like when the Lakers play in Dallas, will there be a Dallas fan in the stadium? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. It's wild. It's pretty, I don't feel like there's a lot of precedent for it at all. Like obviously for the trade, but for the fallout too. It's like, it's bizarre.
Yeah. Nico better watch out.
Yeah. But I will be really curious. Like, I wonder, there's like already reports, which were going to happen anyway, but already reports that Luka's like watching LeBron's habits and being like, whoa, like that he takes this seriously. That's obviously true. But like what he does off the court to get himself ready, that was probably inevitable that report was going to come out. But if it's true, it's this same, like the league could be in a lot of trouble if Luka decides to take his conditioning as seriously as LeBron does. He's so gifted. He's so gifted. So anyway, I'll be curious. I actually feel bad for the fans in Dallas. They must be like, those who care about basketball a lot must be just devastated.
What about the season ticket holders?
Yes. Good point. Really good point. Like demand a refund.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they got a penny back.
Okay. Do you want to hear about the game I watched?
I do want to hear about the game you watched.
Okay, so I watched the Knicks Celtics game in New York City, and it was a Saturday night primetime game. I learned this when I turned it on. The options for watching, like which stream, It was like ESPN/ABC, so national broadcast. And the announcers were Doris Burke, Richard Jefferson, and Mark Jones. Now,
Cool.
I'm going to get to them in a minute. First, I'll talk about the game. Okay. The arena was sold. It had to be sold out. It was packed, and it was the loudest crowd I have heard from any game that I've watched. Like, the crowd was super into it. There were a lot of celebrities. Ben Stiller was there. Spike Lee was there. Denzel Washington was there. This game, I can't figure out if it's because, it started immediately. Like, in the first second, Jason Tatum got the ball and he dunked it in it's like he jumped from the 3-point line. He was in the air for the dunk for a very long time.
Yeah.
He did great.
Yeah.
It was a really big start. And then the Celtics just took off. And then the Knicks, they closed the gap a little bit, but they just couldn't hold it. They got it to within 2 points at one point in the game, but they couldn't maintain it. Okay, so I was excited to watch this game because Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns are on the Knicks, and they're both going to All-Star Weekend. So I was like, these guys, 2 superstars on a team, that's going to be awesome. Okay, Towns was downgraded right before the game to questionable because he had a knee injury, but he was okay and he still played. And then Porzingis, obviously, out with an illness. They weren't specific about what the illness is, but I don't know. It was snowing out in New York, so maybe he was like, I just don't want to go out in the snow.
The sniffles.
I get like that. Yeah. He's like, I just want to stay in bed and watch Starting Five on Netflix.
Yeah, exactly.
Check in on my enemies, friends.
Right.
Okay, so for the Celtics, they had a different starting lineup. Someone I had never heard of before named Luke Cornett. Who's that?
Cornett. Luke Cornett.
No, what? It is not Cornett.
It's not Hornet. I promise you it's not Hornet.
These names.
I know. I promise you. It's Cornett. Luke Cornett. Okay.
Because when I saw it, I was like, oh, Hornet. I even wrote it phonetically because it looked like hornet on my paper.
Sure.
So I wrote Hornet to remember how to pronounce it. God. Okay.
It's hard to get
Cornett.
that K in there. Yeah.
Luke.
Okay.
Luke Cornett started. Obviously, I've never heard of him because I thought his name was Luke Hornet.
Right.
Who is
Have you
this?
heard of Luke?
I haven't heard of Luke Cornett or Luke Hornet.
Yeah.
Neither one.
Luke Cornett was at least on the team last season. I don't know when he got there, but he's like their kind of their third center who has actually been kind of important because Al Horford is 38, so they try to take it easy on him. And Porzingis is Porzingis, so he needs to play a lot. And so he's kind of their backup big guy. I would say he's known for being a really hard worker, gets a lot of rebounds, is kind of busy around the basket, works really hard on defense, but not terribly skilled in terms of NBA players on offense. So that's
he started, so he must be kind of skilled.
Yeah.
He's got some skills.
He's got some skills. You know that? Do you remember a while ago when Jim was sharing that 1 in 6 7-foot people in the United States is in the NBA? Luke Cornett is who I thought of when I heard that stat.
But what about Luke Hornet?
Luke Cornett's only 6'11", so he's not.
That's too bad.
He's not in the league. So Porzingis out with an injury. Luke Cornett is starting.
Okay, so quarter one, like I said, it started off super strong, and then the crowd was so into it. And then quarter two, Peyton Pritchard got a logo 3, which is so amazing. And then he just had such a good game. He scored so many threes. He had a really good second quarter. Quarter 3, like usual, I have no notes for quarter 3. And the last quarter, Sam Hauser was in. I always like to see him. I did not see him try to high five anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to read to you some the announcers said, okay?
Good. Yeah.
So, and then I'm going to talk about the announcers. So it's Doris Burke and these 2 guys. And I don't know which guy was saying these things. I don't know if it was 2 different guys. They sounded the same to me. So, okay, I love this. And I want people to start saying this about me anytime I walk into a room, okay? Tatum, he set off the smoke detector when he dunked.
That's pretty good. That's really
That's
good.
a good one. Okay, then I love this. Okay, so it's 22-9. The Celtics are up. And Doris Burke says, it doesn't seem like the Knicks have settled into the game yet. That was pretty funny.
Did you
It's
feel like that
22
was
to
an
9. No.
You feel like that was an understatement? Yeah.
So Doris says about someone, I don't know who. He has some weaknesses as a player, but stay in your lane. Terrific athlete, excellent in the restricted area. Go get it, young sir.
That's very Doris. That's very Doris.
I love it.
Me too.
This is about Pritchard scoring a lot. He's taking all of it. He's got enough to feed the needy now.
Wow. Speaking of staying in your lane.
Like too soon.
Yeah, a little bit. There's still hungry people.
Let's see. Someone on the Knicks, and I rewinded this to see what exactly happened, but one of the guys, the announcer, says, so-and-so needs an MRI on those ankles. I mean, he buckled.
Oh,
and I didn't know if that was an expression of like he buckled, like he didn't do what he was supposed to do, or if his ankles really did like kind of flop around. It's hard to see.
That guy's first name is Precious. Everyone I hear talk about him calls him Precious. So I don't know how to say his last name, but Precious anyway is how I know him. Broken ankles is an expression in basketball. Like if you are like if you're dribbling,
he buckled. It said he buckled.
Oh, was he like down in the court hurting?
No.
I would imagine that that's like an extension of the expression broken ankles. Like if you're dribbling to your right and then you really quickly go back to your left and the person who's defending you like loses their balance and you go by them.
Yeah.
A way to say that is that you broke their ankles.
All right.
And so that could be, maybe he's really hurt. If he's really hurt, I feel insensitive saying that. But if I
don't think he was really hurt.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they were saying, that the person went by him.
Okay. Well, so as you can tell, I really liked these announcers. So when I look at this spectrum, I put Doris Burke, Richard Jefferson, and Mark Jones right in the middle. I loved it.
New leaders. Good.
But the internet hates these people. At least, so I went online and I put in their 3 names together. I think this might be the first time all 3 of them, I didn't search any 2 of them, but all 3 of them together only had a couple of things on Twitter and like 1 Reddit post. And it was all very negative. Like basically it was just a lot of negative comments. However, so they were discussing it on Reddit and I figured out why basketball fans hate it and I love it. So they were saying that people were complaining about Doris Burke and how everything she said in this game was like super basic and like very simplified. And that when she used to announce for the Timberwolves, you could tell that she really knew the team and watched all the games, that she like knew tons of facts. And like while she was announcing would like just kind of rattle off these statistics and like interesting things about that team. And so people were saying like, well, when they bounce around, when they're national broadcasters, they bounce around so much to so many games that they can't really dig in specifically to teams. So it's very general. And I was like, oh, that's why I like it, because that is the level I'm at. They said, someone even said on Reddit that it's like, she should go teach a children's basketball camp or something. She'd be great.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. I feel like it's probably a little bit of a different job. I bet she would agree.
Yeah.
Like, I bet there are a lot more people who watch games on ESPN who don't know that much about either basketball or the teams that are playing. And I bet, like, if Doris Burke was talking about specifics, like went on a 5-minute tangent about a bench player for the Knicks, I think the ESPN audience wouldn't be interested in that. I don't think that's, you know what I mean? That might be the only time they watch the Knicks this year, as opposed to, you know, when she was with the Timberwolves, it was like the story of the bench players might be interesting, their development over the season, to the hardcore fans who are watching. So it's a different job.
You know what? I'm going to email Doris Burke and see if she wants to come on our show.
Okay. It worked the first time.
Well, it didn't, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That's sports.
That's true. And it just didn't work yet.
That's right. Growth mindset.
Wait, so why did you like this game? This is very interesting to me.
I think a couple things. When I watch the local feed, it like either shows a local ad or it shows what they're doing during the ad break sometimes. And I think that when it's nationally televised, I think the actual running time is shorter, for one. It felt like it moved very fast. So that is one possibility. Like there were no ad breaks, because I think in the league pass and the national one, I think they cut them all out. Then there was a lot going on in the stadium. And I think another part of it, and this is strange, but like the crowd was super into it. Like you could hear them the whole time. Like everyone was so excited about everything. And like, it was like no one was bored. So like, even when the Knicks were down, the crowd was into it, like into yelling at them. The crowd turned on them.
Yeah.
Like it got really, I was surprised at how quickly they turned on them. There is this woman sitting in the third row back, and like someone on the Knicks fouled someone on the Celtics. And this woman this is a home game for the Knicks, 3 rows back, is just screaming at the player, "You suck!" Like again and again. Like he definitely heard that because she was right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that. Like that's exciting. I'm not that like excited about celebrities, but I think it is interesting. Like they were showing celebrities, and Spike Lee was there. At one point, Spike Lee, so he's courtside. He's standing up and like having some kind of interaction with the ref, and everybody within earshot is laughing. So he's done something that like everybody thinks is very funny. Like he's not being serious or yelling, but he's like, I don't know, kind of like joking around with the ref. And I'm like, bro, the ref has a job to do. Right. But then I found out that this is Spike Lee's thing. But like he's always interacting with the players and the refs. And there's the famous Reggie Miller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where he's like heckling Reggie Miller, and Reggie Miller is like sick of it. Does this.
Yeah. Yeah. Reggie Miller scored 25 points in that quarter in like a playoff game. If I was a Knicks player, I'd be like, dude, Spike Lee, go sit down. You're making him angry.
I know.
Anyway, yeah. The crowd noise is interesting. If you watch NFL games on CBS versus NFL games on Fox, the crowd noise on Fox is like twice as loud relative to the volume. It's more, and I wonder how much sound was like. There's a producer making a decision about what it sounds like, and there are probably mics around the stadium to try to make it seem more exciting or whatever. This game was supposed to be like a big game. Like the Knicks were talking about how it was a little bit of a litmus test for them. The second and third teams in the Eastern Conference. Jalen Brunson before the game was talking about how like it was a really good test, and they wanted to see where they were among the good teams in the East. And then it was a little bit of a laugher. This game, he said it wasn't super close. All the Doncic stuff and the trade talk. The Celtics are quiet. The Celtics have won 7 out of 10. And they're a little inconsistent. They lost to the Mavericks after they traded Doncic.
They've won 7 out of 10. What?
Of their last game. So the Celtics have won 7 of their last 10 games. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They lost to the Mavericks, which was very weird. Right after the Mavericks traded Doncic, it was like they just completely no-showed that game, which they still kind of do. I think they have one more game before the All-Star break. I don't think it's against anyone particularly good, I don't think. And so like there's a chance that they'll be 8-2, or like they'll have won 8 of their last 10 heading into the All-Star break. And they people have been talking about like, when is this season like a problem for the Celtics? They just seem like they're on autopilot. And what a lot of people have been wanting to see is for them to just kind of be like a buzzsaw for 2 weeks, kind of like they were last season, just to see that it's like still in there. This like killer, like we're not going to mess around with bad teams. We're just going to put them away. And they've been picking it up just a little bit lately. I think Tatum had 42. I think in the Knicks game, and then I think he had like 33 or 34 against the Heat like 2 nights ago in a game that wasn't very close. So it feels a little bit for people who are following the Celtics like they might be turning a corner just a little bit, which would be pretty fun. They're heading into the All-Star break, and maybe they'll get a little healthier at that point as well. So I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah. So this weekend is All-Star weekend. But how long is the All-Star break?
So there are regular games on Friday. this week.
Okay.
On Valentine's Day, there are regular games. And then happy birthday, no games on the 15th, 16th. 17th is the All-Star games or whatever. And then first games after that are on Thursday, February 20th. So it's almost a week. And I think that there might only be one game on that Thursday, which I would guess is a makeup from the fires in Los Angeles. So I think most teams get from Friday to Friday off.
Okay. Tell me what All-Star Weekend is about. Like there's different events?
Yeah. There's the televised like interesting events thing. That aren't the game are the 3-point contest and the slam dunk championship. Those are the two kind of exciting ones. Actually, I haven't kept up with All-Star Week. It's been such like a disaster for the NBA. Just like the players just haven't tried at all. I think we talked about this once, but like,
yeah,
I told the score like one of the teams scored more than 200 points last year in the game. It was, and just like, no one was trying at all. And so I think what's happening this year is there's the same number of All-Stars, much to, who was it? Devin Booker's chagrin. He's not happy about that. But
likewise,
they're divided up into 4 teams. And so it's the regular All-Stars are on 3 teams. And then there's one team that's made up of first and second year players, like the Rising Stars team. And they're playing like not a round robin, just like a mini tournament where there's like 2 semifinal games. And it looks like they're captained by these guys who are on TNT on this show called Inside the NBA, which is like a really good NBA show. There's Kenny Smith, Shaq, Charles Barkley, and Candace Parker, who played or plays in the NBA. I'm not sure. Or in the WNBA. I'm not sure if she still does or not. But so they're all captaining one of these teams, and whoever wins the 2 semifinal games will go on to play in a final. So that's how they'll decide the winner. They've like messed around with this a lot of times. They did a version where they played 3 quarters, and then in the 4th quarter, instead of playing to the end of time, they played to a score. So it was like the first team to get to 25 points in the quarter would win, whether that took 7 minutes or 15 or whatever it was. That didn't really work. And then they picked like the top vote getter in the East and the West they picked teams based on the other All-Stars. So LeBron was like, I want, Durant as my first pick, and whatever. And that didn't really work either. Still no one tried.
Like playground rules?
That's right.
Like picking...
Yeah, it wasn't they didn't do it and then play, but that's exactly the idea. That they basically they had like a draft of the All-Stars, and they picked. So I don't know, it's weird. And Halliburton was like, look, I'm just reading the room. Like you can't, if you're playing against Steph Curry and everyone's kind of jogging around and you're like really dogging him on defense, you're like, everyone's like, what are you doing? You're going to hurt Steph Curry or whatever it is. So,
right.
He said it's a little bit weird. It's going to be, I don't know if they'll be able to fix it. I don't. And I don't know if it matters either. But yeah, we should decide what we're going to do with that.
I don't even know. Okay. Are you ready to play a game?
Yeah, I'm ready to play a game. Let's do it.
This game is called Pick 2. So we have 2 categories, NBA people and non-NBA people. And we're going to randomly select a scenario that we have written down. And you have to pick one from each category for that scenario. And then once that person's been picked, they get crossed off the list. You cannot pick them again. No one can pick them again.
Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
You've recently returned to the dating scene after a long self-imposed period of celibacy. After the very much expected wild period that lasts for 6 months, you decide it's time to settle down. You begin to date a lovely person with whom you could see yourself settling down. As you and a friend are watching a game on Sunday, you realize that your friend has recently been on 4 dates with the very same girl with whom you want to get serious. Which people do you call in to help you resolve things between you and your friend? Not between you and the girl, between you and your friend.
Okay, to help me and my friend who are both want to date the same person. Okay, I'm going to go with NBA person. Well, let's see. Okay, I'm going to say the people to help me are going to be, I'm sorry to pick this one and get him crossed off the list, but I'm going to go, it's really hard to commit. I'm going to go Jokic and Crocodile Dundee. Let me tell you why.
Please.
Because I think Jokic, he's not around. He's just going to say like, here's the scenario and here are the facts. And then he's going to make a decision for us. And then Crocodile Dundee, He's like super nice, and he's going to be really comforting in that Crocodile Dundee way. Wait a minute. Dang it. I was thinking of Steve Irwin.
Close enough.
Steve Irwin, R.I.P. I was thinking of him, not
I
Crocodile
would have
Dundee.
saved. I think I would have saved one of those for like an outdoorsy kind of situation. But you do you.
Sorry.
All right, my
Sorry,
turn.
not
You go.
sorry. Okay. There is a class of 25 fifth grade students in a public school. The next science and health unit is about puberty. Several of the students speak Spanish as a first language and are at varying levels of English language proficiency. Which two are the best team to teach these kids about puberty?
I'm going to go with Lucky.
Lucky?
Yep, you heard me.
With fifth graders?
Yeah, that's right. Lucky and Hermione Granger.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
And I think Lucky would step up. Soft spot for kids. Maybe cross into inappropriate every once in a while, but Hermione would like rein him back and come in with some facts. Yeah, I feel good about that. Okay.
Good. Okay. Next one. Okay.
Next one. Ready? You're in a hot dog eating contest and you are neck and neck with Joey Chestnut. Suddenly his heart gives out due to the astronomical amount of nitrates he has consumed in his career. The judges grant his team permission to let an NBA personality and a random celebrity eat in his stead. Who do you pick to step in? But remember, your goal is to win. You want these people to do badly.
Right. I totally got this. I'm going to go Sir CC, even though he has like a really strong jaw.
Yeah.
I think his head is so big that I think it's hard to get.
Power through hot dogs?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is an easy Joe Biden. Come on.
Right.
He's still working on, he's got maybe a half a hot dog. Jimmy Kimmel calls your personal cell phone after Martin Short has backed out of his guest hosting duty while Jimmy is recovering from shoulder reconstruction surgery. You're comfortable in front of the camera, but it turns out that the guest that night is Barbara Walters, and you're expected to do an in-depth emotional interview. Ironically, the very type of interview that Barbara Walters made famous. Which two people do you pick to help you craft the questions for the segment?
Oof, man.
I love the specifics of that question. Like,
yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel's getting shoulder reach.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go, I think Eddie Johnson. You said he was very level-headed.
That's a great pick for this one.
Even.
Yeah.
And I think Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg had like a rough upbringing in Boston, and I bet has some but if you got below the surface with Marky Mark, it'd be heavy. Okay. The other girls in your daughter's scout troop haven't been super nice, so your kid needs to smoke them and selling Girl Scout cookies. Your plan is to have her sell the cookies at a table every Saturday from 9 to 4 outside the front of the busiest supermarket in town. Which two sit with her to increase sales? Okay.
Definitely Jared McCain. He's got a lot of good energy. And then I'm going to go with Seinfeld to get the older demographic. Like, hey, what's up with these Girl Scout cookies? They're not made of Girl Scouts, are they? Or whatever stupid joke
what's
going to say.
What's in this?
Yes, like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that would be a successful team. Okay, you recently decided to quit your job and start a life coaching consulting company. Which two do you pick to lead your TV, internet, and print ad campaigns?
We're going to be left with some weird picks at the end of this thing.
No, there's an obvious choice under the NBA one.
Okay, ad campaign. It's a Lil Funk. It's got to be Lil Funk.
Yes, right? It's got to be Lil Funk.
For very obvious reasons. And Hulk Hogan.
Oh my gosh, yes, perfect.
Right? Because just there'd be some Hulkamania coaching phrase or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. On December 4th, 2024, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was fatally shot outside the New York Hilton Midtown Hotel. Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old Ivy League graduate, was arrested in connection with the murder. Mangione has pleaded not guilty to charges including first-degree murder and murder as an act of terrorism, with prosecutors alleging his actions were motivated by grievances against the health insurance industry. Which two do you choose to represent him in court?
Easy. I'm going to go LeBron James because I think he is also very charismatic, and I think he's used to speaking in front of large crowds, even though a courtroom isn't a large crowd. And Voldemort because, Voldemort.
Okay.
He'd be a great defense for Luigi. Okay. You're poking around some abandoned ruins when you hear a strange whirling, sucking sound. After moving some brush aside, you discover that there is a time warp to the future. A sign next to the vortex tells you that you are going to travel to the year 3535. And humans have figured out global warming, overpopulation, tribalism, and poverty. The only problem is that people are so attractive that what is ugly now has become scarce and coveted. Who do you bring to make the best impression on future humans?
That's a lot of information on a sign next to a time warp. That made me laugh.
It's 3035. They know what they're doing.
Right. Yeah. Someone probably just thought it and it showed up. Well, Roseanne, right? It's got to be Roseanne.
Yes. That's slam dunk.
I'll go with Rocky just because it's like weird enough looking that it would be.
Yeah.
It would be. Okay. So this is your last one.
Yeah.
And still on the board are Scal and Joe Mazzulla. Oh, funny. 2 Celtics personalities. And then Jennifer Lawrence and Neil Armstrong. Aliens land in the Midwestern USA. After a lot of unnecessary panic, we find out they just want to meet some people, see some cool places, and experience some culture. Who do you pick to co-lead the mission to show them a good time?
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe how perfect the remaining people are on this list. Because Scal and Jennifer Lawrence, man, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Even if that was the first question, I think I'd pick those 2.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you know what that means? This is also perfect.
Great.
Who do you want to fight to the death?
Well, that actually, Neil Armstrong might not be the choice, but Joe Mazzulla. Am I making these two people? People fight to the death?
Yeah, and was it not Neil Armstrong who punched someone in the face when he was like 75, or was that Buzz Aldrin?
Buzz. I don't know.
It was Buzz Aldrin.
Close enough. Yeah.
Close enough.
I mean, I had to. Mazzulla makes sense. I can't really defend fighting Neil Armstrong to the death.
Yeah, but he's scrappy. I like this as a choice for fighting.
Yes, he supports it.
Sir Cece would have been good for this one.
Well, yeah. Hunger Games kind of, he volunteers as tribute.
I think it's time for MVP.
Great.
Okay, my MVP for this game, it's a tie between the creative cameraman. In this game, there was it wasn't just the fixed cameras. There was somebody who would sometimes during timeouts, run up the court with the camera, film. Yeah. That was fun.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And Peyton Pritchard had a really good game. Good job, Peyton Pritchard.
Great. I'm going to go with Tatum. I feel like as a Celtics fan, there's been a lot of talk about what's wrong with them, why, are they going to figure it out this year? And he's just been so good this year, just so good, so steady. He also, it's in this modern NBA where people are either managing their tiredness or getting hurt a lot, which is not anyone's fault. He's just so steady. He just plays. He plays all the time, which is awesome.
LVP, I gotta say the mom moves dance cam. I have a few things to say about this.
Yeah.
Where's the dad dance moves cam? Right. And how do you know these people are moms? And this is just embarrassing for everyone. I'm embarrassed for all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Not cool. Not cool.
Really undignified. Maybe just because they're bad dancers. I don't know why it was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah. My LVP, I'm going to go with Karl Anthony Towns. He had this long career with the Timberwolves where he's this incredibly skilled player who always made these dumb plays. And he's been great this year for the Knicks. Their offense is supposed to be incredible. I still haven't watched them. But I'm still dubious. I think in the playoffs, I think he's going to have a Karl Anthony Towns moment where he just makes some very, very stupid play at a really important part of a game and cost them a game and maybe even a series. So I'm preemptive LVPing him. He also didn't play great this game.
No, he didn't. I was surprised that he's one of the top all-star people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, most confusing part. I was confused about Spike Lee's brazen interaction with the ref. That just seems how can you consider the ref's calls accurate if they're, I don't know, just seems like a distraction. So I was confused about why that's allowed.
Yeah, I agree. It's fraud.
Yes. Did you have a confusing part?
So I guess I'll go with my most confusing part is how something like the mom cam can still exist. The mom cam, dance cam doesn't, a lot of assumptions, a lot of danger. Also fraud.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my most confusing part.
Okay, what did we learn about the phrase broken ankles? Now I know that's a thing that you can say. Like, wow,
Yeah. He
broken
broke
ankles.
his ankles. Yeah. Like I learned about the difference between a national broadcasting job and a local broadcasting job. That those might actually be really different.
I learned that too, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay, so next week we're gonna watch some all-star stuff. To be determined.
Okay, good job.
Good job.